Hello everyone and welcome to this video. This program is to implement a circular queue using known as pointers. Like the question is given as write a program to implement a circular queue using the pointers. Okay, coming to the program. Let's see. The include has to include stdio.h and has to include stdlib.h. These are the header files, and then I have define max equal to 5. Like instead of giving the value inside the function, the structure function, I have defined it in before as I have defined it before as max is equal to 5. Now coming to the structure, type define structure int of array like max is equal to value of 5, and int front, int rear, int size. Like index of the, like this is the index of the front element and this is the index of the rear element and this is the size of queue. Okay, this is the circular queue. Then we have to initialize queue, right? For that, void init queue circular queue dot queue, and queue arrow operator front is equal to 0, queue arrow operator rear is equal to 0, queue arrow operator size is equal to 0. Since now only we are initializing the queue, the values will be 0, right? So I have written the value as 0, 0 and 0. Then before entering any elements into the queue, we have to check if whether the queue is full or not. For that, a function is written to find the queue is full or not, so that it is full circular queue pointer queue, return queue size is equal to max or not. Then before inserting any elements in the queue, we have to also check whether the array, like whether the queue is empty or not. If it is full, we cannot load any elements. If it is not empty, we cannot add any elements. So we are also checking whether the queue is empty or not. So int it is empty circular queue and queue, return queue size is equal to 0. Then a function should be given to insert the element into the queue, right? So we are enqueuing it. So for the enqueuing, void enqueue, 1 minute, void enqueue circular queue int value. If is full queue, then print queue is full, cannot enqueue. Like if the queue is full, we have to get the output as queue is full and we cannot enqueue. Like we could not insert any elements. Then then I have written as q arrow operator array of q arrow operator rear is equal to value, q arrow operator rear is equal to q arrow operator rear plus 1 percentage max. In this, by this formula, we can move the rear element in a circular manner. So I have written like this. After inserting the rear elements, the queue size is going to be increased, right? So I have written queue arrow operator size is incremented. Then as we have enqueued, like inserted the element in the queue in the same order, we have to also remove the element from the queue, right? So we are going to dequeue the queue. So for the dequeuing, we have written a function like int dequeue circular queue star queue if is empty queue, print if same, like if the queue is empty, we cannot dequeue, right? Like if there is no anything inside a queue, like there is no any element inside the queue, we cannot remove any elements, right? So we cannot dequeue. So since queue is empty, we cannot dequeue. That only we have written. So return -1. Then the same thing I have written for the queue. The queue to be in a circular manner. So I have written the same thing another time. Then we have to write a function to display the elements in the queue, right? Since we are going to enqueue and both enqueue and dequeue, so we have to see which elements are there inside the queue, right? So we are writing a function to display the queue elements. So void display queue circle queues are queue if is empty queue printf is empty. Like if it is empty, that will be printing empty. Or if there is no any, if it is not empty, the queue is not empty, then I is equal to q up front for I count is equal to 0, sorry, int count is equal to 0, count is lesser than equal to q size, like count is equal to 0, like initializing will be 0 and it will be lesser than the q size. So count is lesser than q size, then count is incremented, then it will be printed, right? So print of percentage d q of array size of I is equal to I plus 1 percentage max, and then it is printed the new line. Then it now comes the main function. The main function is to demonstrate, like it's to like the main function is to reply, like explain about the circular queue, right? So coming to the main function, int main circular queue q init q. So we have to enqueue the elements. So we are writing enq and q. Then since we are enqueuing elements, it is not going to be getting as an input. I have already written the code, so it will be quite easy. So enq q comma 10, and then same enq and q is equal to 20, 30, 40 and 50. Likewise, I have entered 5 elements in the queue, and now I am going to display that elements in the queue. So display q and q, then it will be displaying the elements, and then nq and q. Actually, I am adding another element which is the greater than size. Like actually the size is 5, right? I have already written 5. I have already inserted 5 elements. Then now it's the 6th element, nq and q 60. Print f dq and q, display q, like it's going to be dq'd. Since I cannot insert any elements, so I am going to dequeue the elements from the already written 5 elements, like inserted 5 elements from the queue. So dequeue operation is done here, like display q, like dequeue operation is done here, and then it's printed, like it is printed. And while if it is empty, it cannot be dequeued, right? So if it is empty, the while loop prints it cannot be dequeued. Then the queue will be like, at last the queue, what were the elements in the queue that will be displayed here, that only written display q and q, and at last return 0. Okay, since the code has been explained, I am going to run this program in the compiler. As I have run the code, like it shows q elements as actually as I have given 10, 20, 30 and 40. It has printed 10, 20, 30 and 40. Sorry, 10, 20, 30 and 50. 30, 40 and 50. Then since I have entered the element 60, right, it is greater than the size of the queue. Like it's the 6th element, actually size is 5, but it's the 6th element, so it cannot be enqueued. So it shows queue is full and cannot enqueue. That only has happened. So I am like, since the queue is full, I am going to dequeue it. So dequeue 10 and dequeue 20. Like 10 and 20 has been dequeued, and now the queue element consists of 30, 40 and 50, right? So the 3 elements are displayed. And then now again, like since I have stopped with 60, then here I have returned 60 and 70, like it's going to be enqueued. So that has happened here. Q elements are 60, and then the elements has been enqueued. 60 and 70 has been enqueued, like it's inserted. Then another all elements has been dequeued once again, like all the elements has been removed from that. So that is removed, 40, 50, 60, 70, all have been dequeued from the queue. So at last, after all elements has been declared, like all the elements has been dequeued, right? So there will be nothing in the queue, so it shows that queue is empty. That's all. This is the program to implement a circular queue using the pointers. It will be a manner of circular queue. So the program is explained clearly, and that's all for this program. Thanks for watching, and thank you.